Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geico 15-Minute Moto Show. I'm your host, Ralph Sheheen. So let me throw this question at you. You're a really well-known, famous rock and roll drummer, and at the same time, you've got a real big passion for building custom motorcycles, and you're very good at both. What do you do? That's the challenge of Xavier Muriel had. How are you today, Xavier? You good?
I'm really, really good. I woke up this morning, the rest is gravy.
Yeah, I hear you. So here you were as one of the top drummers in rock and roll playing with Buckcherry, and you have this passion for motorcycles, custom bike building, and you're very good at that as well. How did you come to figuring out which way to go?
Honestly, the gut feeling inside. It was one of those things where I had literally spent my entire life since the age of 11 pursuing music. But before that, at the age of 6, I got my first motorcycle. So things kind of crossed before I moved back out to LA to pursue music as a full career. I was working at a custom Harley shop here in Austin. And it was one of those epiphany moments where you read about in a book or you hear about in a song or one of your buddies tells you. I literally was leaving a performance from New York, flying over the city, flying home for Thanksgiving holidays. And that thing inside of me that for many, many years as a young man, I never listened to, it spoke to me, and that it was time. It was time to do something else. The music had not lost its luster, but everything that involves the music, quote unquote, business is what became not so palatable anymore for me. And the only other thing that I love besides making music is building motorcycles or being involved in motorcycles in any way, Harleys to be exact. And it was kind of a leap of faith type thing. A lot of people believe that when you take a leap of faith, you don't always have to go down. Sometimes you can go up. And I'm a very blessed man in the fact that I still play music. I am still active in the musical world. I just left that entity, and now I own my own business. So I'm the boss. I can pretty much take off whenever I need to go to make a record in Nashville or LA or New York, which I have done on 1, 2, 3 occasions now. So it's been an interesting segue, if you will, learning the ropes of what a business is. And the industry now is much different than it was in the early 2000s and the heyday of the chopper biker build-offs and the stuff that we were just talking about before we went on. But at the same sense, there's always that essence, that core love of motorcycles, just like there is the essence core love of music. So, I get to do both.
Yeah. Is that how you came with the name Providence? Because of that epiphany?
Pretty much, yeah. If you look up the definition in the dictionary of providence, it's a divine manifestation, and whatever that means for that individual person. It could be the moons, the stars, it could be the sea, God, whatever it is. That's basically what I went with because it was very real for me what that. And it's funny that I had that name picked out back in 2013. So it wasn't till 17 when I left Buckcherry and then pursued this as a business and as a way of life. And it wasn't like I left the band and then started thinking, well, I'm going to open up a shop. I'm going to have a logo. I'm going to get a hat. It was all very, very organic and very non-planned, to be absolutely honest with you. It started with the invite to a very, very famous exhibit in Sturgis held every year by a man by the name of Michael Lichter, who, if you've seen any classic pictures, iconic pictures of the last 30 years of Billy Lane, Jesse James, Indian Larry, Dave Perowitz, he's the man who took those. And when he asks you to build a bike for his show, you don't say no. And that's literally how it started. And that bike went on to win Easy Rider 2019 Bike of the Year, and then Cycle Source Magazine Bike of the Year. And then I was awarded Bike Builder of the Year. And I found myself going, okay, now what, but again, with no certainty whatsoever, just literally following my heart and doing what I love to do. And, my dad always used to say, if you come home smelling like high heaven at the end of a hard day's work and you love it, then it's really not work, it becomes a passion. So
That's very true. I still, look, everybody who listens to music, and we all do, any of us that are steering wheel drummers, and I'm one of those, we all have dreamed, right, of
Yeah.
being on that stage and the adulation and the bright lights and what it means to be a quote unquote rock star. So to walk away from that and then to walk in that shop that first day and go, wow, it's all on me now.
It's
That
absolutely.
had to be incredible to put yourself there.
The LLC, the business, the motorcycles of Providence has literally still in its infancy in 4 years. I walk in here every day and think about, wow, there's a lot more to it. Just like in the music business, I didn't know it was a business. I thought it was just, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We're going to play some drums, get on a bus, and hey, aren't we having a good time? Well, there's a lot of.
It's not?
No, it is. Oh, it is. There's very much that, but there's a lot else that goes along with it. Much like this, there was paperwork and lawyers and attorneys and certificate of occupancy and tax resales. I didn't know all that stuff. I just literally started all of this in a 1-car garage in Burbank, California before I moved here and made it a business. But all that stuff is amazing that you just spoke of. It's really amazing. And I don't deter anybody from following their dreams when it comes to that. However, it comes at a cost. You just have to decide what that cost is. And for me, I had played all of the biggest stages. I had played with the man who literally was responsible for me wanting to play drums, which was Tommy Lee from Motley. So getting to tour with him was, how do you get any better than that? Well, then you headline Madison Square Garden, then you play the Budokan, then it really is. But again, even back then, there was never an idea of we're going to be rock stardom. It was just, I love playing music with these 4 guys, and then I have to go to work in the morning and make a paycheck and pay bills just like everybody else. It's when all that other stuff starts to become very, very disillusioned and foggy. That's when it can get bad. The blessing becomes, like Garth Brooks always said, with every blessing, there's a curse. And it's the truth. I'm one of the lucky ones that got to experience that. To this day, it really freaks me out when people will notice me somewhere, especially at a motorcycle event. It's an awesome thing, but at the same sense, you have to respect it, because if you don't, it can get away from you, and a lot of my friends are not here on this earth anymore. So I have to really look at that and go, what's the direction? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be?
Okay, so it's pretty easy to imagine what the highs of being a rock star playing in a world-renowned band would be. What's the adrenaline rush now for you as a custom bike builder, and how does it compare?
Man, it's the exact same thing in the fact that when you start with a song and 4 guys in a room, you're literally just creating this idea where one guy goes, hey man, I've got this riff, and it goes like this, and then the bass player kind of chimes in, and then I start a beat, and then the singer runs over to the pad and paper and starts writing lyrics, and then sometimes within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, you have the meat of a song. Well, that song becomes a demo. Then the demo becomes a track on the record. Then 9 months later, that person that's in the front that you saw 2 years ago with the last record is singing that back to you. And it started off with more or less just an idea. Motorcycles is the same way. I start with a frame and I just put her up on the lift, or I will go to California and build one with a friend of mine, grab a cup of coffee and go, okay, where are we going to go? Talk to me. How are we going to do this? And it's literally the same idea of listening to your track, your final track back on the speakers in a control room is the same feeling I get when I turn the key and it starts and it comes to life. And then I get to ride it down the street and shift. And then I get to brake, and then I come back and I listen to her idle. It's the same thing. And when somebody comes up to me at a bike event and now says, God, I've been following your stuff on Instagram. Congratulations on Easy Rider and Cycle Source. And two of my bikes just came out, one in a Japanese magazine and the other one in a Swedish magazine. And that freaks me out, because for years I know how to deal with it when it comes to the music thing. It's like, oh, thank you so much. And I do the same thing with the motorcycles, but it's a completely different feeling, because like you said, it's all on these shoulders.
Yeah.
There is no business manager. There is no manager. There's no 4 other guys. It's literally everything right here. So those two feelings are extremely similar, extremely similar.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we turned your camera on, there's not anybody else in the room. It is just you.
It is me. It is me and a bunch of motorcycles, a bunch of tools, and Smith playing in the background,
Yeah, so what's the process? So I call you and I say, hey, I want a Providence Cycle Works bike. What happens now?
We talk about the idea that you have. What's the end game for the motorcycle? What kind of rider are you? Are you going to get on and drive this thing to Sturgis? Okay, well then maybe we don't want a hardtail, and we talk about budget. We talk about your likes, your dislikes. And it's it's a super creative process, much like making a record. Except I get to do it one-on-one with a person. And so far, probably 6 customer builds into this so far. Things have been great, So, but it's a cool process because I get to watch somebody else get just as excited about the machine that we're creating together for them. And then when it goes away, when that person takes off, a little bit of me goes away because I've spent 4, 6, 9 months building that and sending them pictures and going, hey man, what do you think about this? And then he'll call me and go, I just saw something on the internet that I have to have. Okay, now we have to back up and
yeah.
And then I don't want my pipes like that. I want you to make them more like this. And so it's really cool,
Is there something for everybody at Providence Cycle Works, or is it pretty high end right now?
No, that's the thing. Once again, referring back to the days of the biker build-offs and the chopperdom and all of that, the days of the $80,000 motorcycle are very few and far between. And even guys of that iconic stature still get that. Me as a new guy, I don't really want to build bikes that expensive. My bikes start anywhere between 25 and the last customer I had was 53. It just depends on the customer, their budget. And I tell everybody all the time, you don't have to have a lot of money to build a really cool motorcycle. You just have to have a really good idea and execute it properly and stay within what you're trying to achieve. If you buy a 124 cubic inch polished motor, that's $10,000 like that. So you've already blown half of your budget and you don't even have a wheel, so there's a lot of ways to do it,
There are some guys that specialize in certain styles of custom bikes, or when you see it, you can pick it out, out of a lineup and you go, oh, that's a Sims bike. That's a Billy Lane bike. There's no doubt that's a Perowitz Flame Job. What would you say is your trademark or style, if you will?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I had a gentleman in Daytona at Biketoberfest literally tell me that even though I've built the last 4 motorcycles of mine were completely different styles of chassis, completely, they all had something that told him that was a Providence Cycle Works bike. Now, for me, that's one of the greatest compliments ever. But I think it's so hard to define that. It really is. I mean, like, for instance, Billy and Jesse, you look at their bikes, it. Like you said, Sims, a Ron Sims bike. I would think if I had to put my finger on it, it would be just the lines. Like, I'm all about lines. I always refer, and it's funny that you have all the NASCAR stuff behind you, to the Days of Thunder when Robert Duvall puts that tracking over the car and he goes, okay, I'm gonna cut you 3/16 here and I'm gonna flow you. That's exactly. And I learned that from my biggest mentor, which is Billy Lane, that everything is about the lines, everything, so you can have a great front end, great middle, and get to the oil tank. And then when you get to the back fender, it kind of goes, and you're like, oh, well, there it went. So,
well, just so you know, the barn where they shot the scenes for that in Days of Thunder is right down the road. So next time you come visit, we'll take you over
just
there.
Just to stand in there.
Inside.
And when he says, nope, sir, don't want him, don't need him, couldn't afford him if I needed to. I love that.
So a couple of quick ones here before we let you go. Would you say that your drumming style plays into your build style? Is there any crossover there?
Absolutely. I 150 million %, because my philosophy for drumming is exactly the way my philosophy is for not even drumming, but just application of the drums, is the less is more. I'm always about, give me the meat and potatoes, the thing that makes it this, you know. But yeah, my music, my drumming, my approach to drumming, my approach to music is the same approach to the motorcycles, where it's less is more, because that always gives you that air. You know, I'm a big fan of negative space in motorcycles, and I like everything all crammed in there, because then you can't really see the beauty of where the lines start and stop. Much like in drumming, I'm not the virtuoso drummer that's going to get up there and do all these. No, I want to watch people do this.
Yeah.
That's all I want. You know, Steven Tyler said it, you know, just meat and potatoes, 2s and 4s, watch those things move when she bounces. And I love that. And that's literally growing up, you know, I have them all over my wall. John Bonham is right there. You know, it was always about just that pocket, that groove that makes you go like this. That's it. And this is the same way. You know, Jesse once said, if it doesn't make you go fast or stop fast, you don't need it.
Right.
You know,
right.
And it's true.
I love it.
It's true.
Okay. How does everybody find you if they want to get in touch with you at Providence Cycle Works?
providencecycleworks.com with an X is my website. Same with my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all WORX. And I'm in Austin, Texas, and have been with Geico for 18 years.
We love that. Okay, final question for you. We ask
Sure.
this to everybody who's a musician who's been on our show. Has the ultimate motorcycle song been written? And if so, which one is it? And you can't go with Steppenwolf. That's too easy.
No, it hasn't been written. Guaranteed. I thought we got close. I was in a band called Brother Love way before I was in Buckcherry. We wrote a song called Can We Take a Ride? And it was about two buddies going through the same problems in life, and all they did was get on their motorcycles and ride it into the sunset. I don't think it's been written yet, you know, and that's the beauty of it. If it has, what do we have to look forward to? That's like when they always ask you, so what's your favorite song? Don't know. I haven't written it yet. What's your favorite motorcycle that you've built? I haven't. I'm still, every day that I get to either do this or fix something or break something or fix it again. That's the beauty. That's the process. That's what I feel is that thing about always looking forward to what's over there, you know? So
I love it, Xavier. Thank you very much for being on the show. Well, there you
Thank
go.
you,
It's
man.
a perfect example that if you've got a dream, it's never too late to go chase it. I'm Ralph Sheheen. Thanks for joining me and Xavier here today on the Geico 15-Minute Moto Show. Don't forget, we'll have a new one for you every week right here on Speed Sport.